Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. For those of you that didn't notice, I've been gone for a week. Went on vacation. Haven't done a show for a full week now. I guess probably most of you didn't notice, but for those of you that did, I'm back. And while I left, and I knew I shouldn't have gone away for a whole week, because while I was gone, shit fell apart. Afghanistan disintegrated, and now we're looking at a ban on Russian rifles and ammunition. Both these things kind of went down while I was gone. And I want to talk about them today. Now, first I want to talk about one that I've actually kind of addressed already because I made a little standalone video while I was on vacation. And I want to talk about Afghanistan. I have made it clear how I feel. And I feel, yes, we need to get out of Afghanistan. I don't know what I started to call it there, but it wasn't Afghanistan. I'm like, we need to get out of there. I'm sick and tired of spending $150 billion all the time on just propping up an army that doesn't want to fight. For people who don't want to be defended. People who want the Taliban there because they agree with most of the Sharia law stuff. The men of Afghanistan don't want women to have rights, whether they're on one side of that argument or the other. You know, one side of the Civil War or the other. Neither side really wants women to have rights. So that whole pretending like, well, they're protecting the women, they're never going to be protected there. Until that society changes and gets away from their archaic religion, it's never going to change. So I was of the mindset of, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be spending taxpayer dollars, and more, I don't want to be spending American blood there. And yes, I know that a lot of the reason we're still there after getting bin Laden, even though that was our primary goal for going there was getting bin Laden, and that was 10 years ago, and we still haven't pulled out yet, well, till now. I know the primary reason they were there and staying there was to protect business interests. That's why they were really there. You keep hearing about all these Americans that got left behind. Well, yeah, they're bankers, profiteers, Citibank people, private security companies that are over there sucking money out of the country and out of our taxpayer pockets. So I don't really care about all the Americans that are left behind. Who the fuck was in Afghanistan other than the profiteers and the security people, etc.? And the soldiers. And the soldiers are the ones that didn't want to be there because the soldiers are the only ones not getting rich. All the people that sent them there are getting rich. If you look at that list of senators and Congress people that have made a fortune off the Afghanistan war through contracting companies they own stock in, etc., they're getting rich. Like I said, the only people that aren't the soldiers. So I'm like, pull them out. And that's the taxpayers. We're footing the bill. So I was like, pull them out. And a lot of people got on me when I said my opinion of I would rather pull out just immediately and not lose any soldiers than I would do it slowly and start losing lives of our soldiers and I didn't care if it saved 1,000 Afghani lives, if it cost us 10 soldiers, I wasn't willing to pay that price. I respect our soldiers a little more than to say they're expendable as long as it protects the Saudis or more especially the Americans that are there reaping the rewards and sucking money out of the country. So I was like, pull out. I'm okay with it. I will accept the consequences. Now, was Biden the person to be running the pullout? Probably not, because he probably doesn't know what we're actually pulling out of, to be honest. But, you know, no matter who did it, it wasn't going to be smooth. It wasn't going to be clean. I mean, we were in the middle of a civil war over there, and we were in the middle of a civil war that most of the people didn't even want to fight. They just wanted to surrender. It's like one side was going to fight no matter what, one side was going to surrender. We saw that time and time again. But we pulled out. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. I'm okay with it. Like I said, did Biden fuck it up? He made it worse than it could have been. But it was always going to be bad. So I don't really care that Biden pulled out. I think McMaster's said it perfectly, General McMaster's, when he said that the Bush administration started it, the Obama administration pretty much ignored it. The Trump administration, well, he didn't like what the Trump administration did because he accused Pompeo of surrendering to the Taliban when they signed that agreement with them, when they actually negotiated with the Taliban. Or Taliban, or however you want to say it. I like to say Taliban. And then he said Biden bit the bullet and pulled out, but didn't seem to know what he was doing while he did it. So he saw there was a lot of blame to go around. I don't know if I agree that the Trump administration surrendered when they signed an agreement with the Taliban or when they negotiated with them. I think they were just trying to figure a way to get out to where everybody knew that as soon as we pulled out, Taliban was going to flood into the cities, kill anybody that resisted them, and take back over. So they were basically trying to sign things saying, hey, if you do come back in, don't come back in until after everybody's gone. Give us a route to get out, blah, 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 some other things. And that's pretty much what we did. Biden pretty much followed the Trump plan that they had agreed with the Taliban, a little behind schedule and a little sloppily. But like I said, I am not someone who wanted to stay in Afghanistan. And it'd be a little bit hypocritical of me now to just start pointing fingers at who did what wrong. I mean, it's been wrong since day one, and I've always said that. So I don't want us there. I don't want our soldiers there. And as far as protecting the Afghan people, we ain't their babysitters. We gave them every option. People, all those weapons people are talking about, the Taliban's going to get all these weapons. We should have taken the weapons or destroyed them. Well, the weapons they're getting are the ones we gave to the military there in Afghanistan. Can you imagine what it would have looked like if we would have destroyed all the military weaponry we gave them and then left? It would have been America leaves them defenseless and signs their death warrants, blah, blah, blah. There's no way that would have ever been able to work. So I'm not even worried about that. Plus, it's ground level stuff anyway. So not too worried about it. Ground level warfare. I mean, that can include some helicopters and stuff like that. But it's not like intercontinental stuff. So not too worried about it. Plus, they got nuclear powers around them that aren't really going to be too happy with them anyway. So I think they're kind of the least of our worries like that. And people are like, oh, now they'll terrorist attack us again. In all of history, they've managed one big attack. And that's because we kind of let them. We knew it was going to happen. But it was so rare that people were like, it ain't going to happen. Never happens. They always fuck it up. And they got lucky once. That doesn't mean we have to start being policemen of the world because they got lucky once. We just need to start being a little more vigilant. But like I said, as far as the Afghan thing goes, I don't care if profiteers get left behind, American or otherwise. I don't care if these private security forces get left behind, American or otherwise. I don't care if the Afghani people are immediately overrun by the Taliban because that's what they want apparently because they weren't willing to fight. So I don't care about those things. I just care about getting our soldiers out of there safely. They act like the civilians that are still there. What civilians are still there, like I said, that aren't in those groups that I mentioned already? It's not like, well, there's just all these American school teachers and blah, 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 and everything that were under the purview of the military. No. There were some, but not many, and they're already out. So, not worried about the Afghanistan thing. I don't think it's as big a deal as a lot of people say. Did Biden fuck it up? Yeah, but anyone who did it probably would have fucked it up. Did he fuck it up more than probably most people would? Well, I bet he probably fucked it up more than someone who was actually fully cognizant of what they were doing would have. I doubt he listened much to his advisors. So, or else his advisors are just as out of the loop as he is. That's very possible too. So, like I said, no, I don't really care about defending the Afghani people. And no, I don't want to bring tens of thousands of them over here. I heard the Republican governor of one state trying to make it a political issue by going, we won't let them down like Biden did. We'll welcome them here. You can bring them to our state. And I'm like, really? Did you run that by your constituents? Did you go to your Republican state constituents and say, hey, you all are okay with dumping like 30 to 50,000 Muslims in the middle of the state, right? I don't think you did. I think you were just making a grandiose statement. It was just all hyperbole, playing politics. Because I don't particularly want to bring them here either. Period. So that's just how I feel about Afghanistan. I mean, you can feel differently. I don't care. You can feel differently. That's your right. And you can be every bit as right as I am about it, or even more right than me. But my own personal opinion is I ain't losing any sleep over it. I'm glad our soldiers are coming home. I'm glad we're not going to be pouring money into that pit that was going into all the corrupt pockets over there. I'm just glad we're not doing it. And as far as those Citibank people that are still there, fuck them, they never should have gone there. They didn't go there to nation build. They went there to suck money out of it. They went there knowing that the faucets were going to start flowing in there to rebuild, and they wanted their share and then some of it. So fuck them. So, like I said, I'm not so upset about Afghanistan. I'm having trouble believing or understanding why some people are so upset about it because we really don't care. But like I said, if you feel differently, that's perfectly fine. You might be right, and I might be wrong. All right, now I want to move on and talk about the other big thing, the ban on Russian munitions, ammo, guns, etc. And this is where I'm going to kind of rely on the diligence and the intelligence of my own viewers to kind of educate me on this. From what I've been able to see, it looks like this isn't a standalone action against Russia. It's part of a bigger plan that stops all trade with Russia, especially of the biggest imports we have with them right now. There's been other things that have already been put in place. There's things that are still to be put in place, and they're doing it kind of periodically and, a little bit at a time as they can legally figure the quickest and easiest way to do it. If that's the case, then I have no problem with this. Because one thing I hate is hypocrites. And I'm someone who's always been saying we should not be dealing with Russia, and we shouldn't be dealing with other countries that are filling the coffers of that fucking gangster state, Russia. So I have always said no dealing with Russia. As long as they are actively attacking our elections, actively attacking our power grids, actively attacking our private industries' internet systems, as long as they're doing all that stuff, and that is at Putin's request and with his approval. And as long as they're doing that, we shouldn't be dealing with them. Shouldn't be buying anything from them. We shouldn't even flick a nickel their way. I'm a firm believer of that. I think that was one thing I had a problem with Trump. He was way too soft on Russia. But I think he tried to want to win them over as an ally or something. And I just don't think that's going to happen because they're not honest people. You can't deal honestly with dishonest people. That's one thing Trump didn't seem to get. But like I said, we shouldn't be dealing with them at all. And if I was turned around and said when it was like they banned this and that and that and that, I was like, yeah, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. And then it got to something that I actually buy. And I'm like, oh, well, wait, I still want to get that cheap. Well, that would make me a hypocrite, wouldn't it? So I don't want to be a hypocrite. If it's part of a bigger plan of cutting ties with Russia, I'm okay with it. Now, if it's them just singling out guns and ammo from Russia, which I haven't seen any proof of that. I have seen that every report I've read is like, this is stage 4 of a 7-stage program, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So if it's just them singling out guns and ammo, yeah, that'd be something different. And I would be like, that's a fucking attack on our rights, blah, blah, blah. But if it's part of cutting trade with a country that is not our friends, I'm okay with that. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite and bitch just because it affects something I want to buy. Now, to address all the people that are, throwing fits about it, mainly the big corporate gun channels, they're not big corporate channels, but they're owned by the corporations. The corporations pay them, just like the big manufacturers pay them, the ammo manufacturers pay them, etc. So they toe that company line. But they're all like, oh my God, no, you're never going to get Russian ammo, and oh my God, it's going to go up so expensive, and oh my God, what are we going to do? And oh my God, you better go out right now and buy 10 times more ammo than you can possibly afford, because you're never going to get it again. And here's the link to where I'll get 30% of the sale. So that's bullshit. That's just fear-mongering. They got to be fear-mongering about something. Here's the thing. We've had this before where it's been banned. Big companies like Tula, etc., where most of the ammo comes in here, they've got other manufacturing plants where they can ship through to get stuff here. They're not going to give up the American market because of this. They have other options. And even Russia themselves is not stupid. They've got ways to produce this stuff in the Ukraine and other states out there and send it over. So it's really the one thing I read a report about it on, it was partly from the first time this was a problem and partly from now. And they were talking about this will affect maybe 2 to 5% of the import ammo. Not much. And even that ammo will probably only be slowed while they change where it's coming from, because Tula's done that before. So not worried about it. Like I said, it'd be kind of hypocritical for me to bitch about it. And as far as people just not going to be able to get it, no, they'll just get it from another source. And here's another thing. If these companies are in Russia making all this stuff, and now that we won't buy from them, they lose 50% of their market, well, they'll probably move to the Ukraine or to Crimea or to the Czech Republic and say, well, we'll just make it here and send it over. Why should we stay in Russia if we can't sell our product? That'd be a blow to Russia, and I would be pro that, but the ammo would still keep coming in. There might be a short period of time where we were adjusting, but I'm okay with that. Also, more opportunity to make the stuff here. I'd love to see more mass production here. The reason you can't get cheap stuff from here is because they don't mass produce it, because they can't compete with the foreign market. So if it changed to where I had to buy, okay, a box of 50 is now $10 and a box of 50 goes up to $12, that's quite a big increase, but I'm not going to bitch about it if it means it was made here. Or if it was made in a country other than Russia even. I'm going to be okay with that. I'll swallow that, because that is my, and I don't usually swallow things, just so you know. But I will accept that as part of having principles. So as far as not going to be able to get it anymore, you're going to be able to still get it. As far as it's going to be astronomically expensive. You're probably going to look at maybe a 5 to 15% increase in price for a while. Maybe forever, but it's not that big a deal. I mean, I think most of us can still afford another $1 or $2 for a box of ammo, especially if it's American made and it's going into the American economy. I think that's actually better. But like I say, it's not going to have that much of an effect on the market at all. It's not going to have probably any long-term effect at all, because like I say, they'll just slightly alter their production area. So not too worried about it. I'm definitely not going to fearmonger over it. I'm definitely not going to be like, oh my God, they're coming for our guns, because foreign trade with another country, that's purely at the purview of the State Department, the executive branch, and Congress, etc. They can stop trading with a country they consider an enemy. And I would never say we should be trading with a company that is an enemy, is part of a foreign enemy. That's why I'm always stressing the importance of maintaining manufacturing here. We got to quit relying on other countries to provide us all of our stuff, because on a moment's notice, the spigot can be turned off and we don't have the infrastructure to turn it back on. I say we start relying on stuff here. That's one of my big principles I stand behind. And like I said, as long as this is part of just a bigger plan to cut Russia out, I'm all right with it. I would be a hypocrite if I'm not. I don't want to pay more for ammo, but I'll survive. And it's not going to hurt me the most, because I know that I don't shoot AKs all that often. I probably put 200 rounds every couple of months through an AK. There's some people shoot it all the time. But here's the thing. Instead of supporting one of our biggest enemies on the world stage, Russia, and instead of supporting foreign jobs instead of domestic, maybe pay 10% more for your ammo, or just shoot 1 round less out of every 10 if you can't afford it. For the principle of it. But like I said, I don't think there's any reason for anybody to panic. I don't think there's any reason for anybody to throw fits. Unless, of course, like I said, this is singling out of this, and that's something we can be upset about, but is it outside the rights of the executive branch? No, it's not outside their rights, but I think we'll find out that this is not just that. It is part of a bigger thing against Russia. And like I said, I don't think we should be buying from Russia, period, anyway, on principle. If you feel differently, that's fine. I don't fault anyone who buys their ammo from Russia. I mean, some people are not political at all and they don't give a shit. But don't say you're a patriot if you don't care. Don't be someone who says, I'm a patriot and I want my right. If you're someone who would rather deal with Russia than pay a little bit extra for your ammo, you're not a patriot. If you'd rather pay a foreign manufacturer for the product rather than have it made here by American hands, you're not a patriot. So don't misuse that term. People love to use that patriot term way too loosely. If you care about a few cents on a round more than you care about your country producing its own materials, not dealing with actual enemies, then you're not really what I would call a patriot. So suck it up and accept that about yourself. But like I said, I don't look down on you if you buy Russian ammo. I think a lot of people don't even think about it, but don't call yourself a patriot if it pisses you off that you can't do it anymore, or that it's going to cost a little more to make it here. And even I don't think that's even relevant, because like I said, this is a hiccup. They've dealt with this before. Most of the major manufacturers have ways to produce it elsewhere and ship it in. So I don't foresee that big of a market hit on this. And everyone I've seen that I actually read that, was dealing with the market doesn't see that either. So don't worry about it. Like I said, I know the big gun channels are fear-mongering right now. Like, oh my God, spend your money. But that's what they do. And you can't fault a fish for swimming. And you can't fault a shill for shilling, I guess. But for right now, when it comes to the ammo, there's no real reason to panic. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed our first show back, although the topics were a little controversial. So I'm betting about 50% of you probably hated it. But I'm hoping those of you that did hate it can accept that these aren't black and white subjects. They're kind of gray area subjects. And a lot of us are going to disagree. Hope you're mature enough to accept that and move on and realize it isn't that important anyway. But hopefully you're mature enough to accept that. If not, well, suck it. Don't care. How's that for maturity? And with that being said, I just want to sign off today as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, well, it is what it is. It could definitely be a lot worse, but it could still be better. And if we, as a community, stand together, weed out the people that are working against us who are pretending to be on our side, like the propagandists, the fearmongers, the profiteers, if we start ignoring those people and doing what we need to do to defend our rights in this country, what things will be for people that enjoy the Second Amendment and enjoy freedom in general in the very near future is better.